Today, I'm about to share a story that proves a single moment of kindness can change everything. Imagine a man sitting alone on a freezing sidewalk, his thin jacket offering little protection against the biting winter air. People pass by without a glance, just another forgotten soul lost in the rush of city life. But that night, everything changed. Because when all seemed lost, fate intervened in the form of a man whose name is known around the world. A man celebrated not just for his towering presence and legendary basketball career, but for the size of his heart, Shaquille O'Neal. Beyond the fame and championships lies a man devoted to helping others, often in ways the world never sees. And on this cold December night, one of those moments would spark a chain reaction of hope. What happened next would not only change one man's life forever, but inspire countless others to believe in the power of compassion. And it all began on the snowy streets of Atlanta, Georgia. Stay tuned. You won't believe what happened next. It was a cold December evening in Atlanta, Georgia. The streets were alive with the hustle and bustle of the holiday season, people rushing to buy last-minute gifts, the aroma of roasted chestnuts wafting through the air, and carolers singing joyfully on street corners. Among the crowd was Shaquille O'Neal, walking with a sense of calm despite his towering frame and unmistakable presence. Dressed in a black coat and beanie, Shaq blended in just enough, enjoying the atmosphere without drawing too much attention to himself. Shaq wasn't out shopping or heading to a high-profile event. He had been reflecting on the season of giving and decided to take a stroll through the city, hoping to connect with its people in a meaningful way. As he walked down Peachtree Street, his eyes scanned the scene around him. Bright lights adorned storefronts, and children pressed their faces against frosty windows, marveling at the elaborate holiday displays. But then, something caught his eye. A man sitting on the sidewalk, bundled in a thin, tattered jacket, shivering against the biting wind. The man held a cardboard sign that read, "Anything helps. God bless." His face, weathered and lined with hardship, told a story of struggle. Shaq's steps slowed, and the festive noise around him seemed to fade into the background. He approached the man, who looked up, startled but weary. Shaq's warm smile broke through the man's guarded expression. "Hey there," Shaq said gently. "What's your name?" The man hesitated before answering. "Henry." "Henry," Shaq repeated, kneeling to meet him at eye level. "It's freezing out here. How long have you been sitting out here tonight?" Henry shrugged. "A few hours. It's been rough lately. Got nowhere else to go." Shaq nodded, his expression thoughtful. "All right, Henry. Tonight's gonna be different." Shaq stood up and pulled out his phone. He made a quick call, his deep voice calm but firm. "Hey, it's Shaq. I need a favor. Can you get me a room at that hotel on 8th and Main?" "Yeah, tonight. For a friend." After hanging up, he turned back to Henry. "Wait here, okay? I'll be right back." Henry nodded, his eyes filled with a glimmer of hope. Shaq walked a few blocks to a small clothing store where the staff greeted him with wide-eyed surprise. Without hesitation, he began picking out items: a thick winter coat, gloves, a scarf, a hat, warm socks, and sturdy boots. At the register, he paid in cash and handed the cashier an extra bill. "Merry Christmas," he said with a grin before heading back to Henry. When Shaq returned, he handed Henry the bags. "Here you go, man. Let's get you warmed up first." Henry's hands trembled as he pulled on the new coat and gloves. Tears welled up in his eyes. "I don't know how to thank you," he said, his voice cracking. "You don't have to thank me," Shaq replied. "But promise me this. When you're back on your feet, help someone else. Deal?" Henry nodded, a faint smile breaking through his worn expression. Deal." Shaq helped Henry to his feet and walked with him to the hotel, where the staff greeted them warmly. Henry was given a key to a cozy room, and Shaq arranged for a hot meal to be delivered. Before leaving, Shaq shook Henry's hand firmly. "Take care of yourself, all right?" Henry's eyes shone with gratitude. "I will. Thank you, Shaq." As Shaq stepped back into the cold night, he reflected on the encounter. The streets were quieter now, and the snow fell heavier, muffling the sounds of the city. He thought about how a small act of kindness could ripple outward, touching lives in ways he might never fully see. Over the next few days, word of Shaq's act of generosity spread. Social media lit up with stories of the encounter, and people were inspired to follow his example. Donations poured into local shelters, and conversations about homelessness gained renewed attention. But for Shaq, the real reward was knowing he had made a difference in Henry's life. A week later, he received a handwritten letter at his foundation's office. It was from Henry, who wrote about how that night had given him the courage to start anew. He had connected with a local shelter, begun looking for work, and was determined to rebuild his life. Shaq smiled as he read the letter. He decided to take it a step further. Through his foundation, he partnered with local organizations to launch an initiative aimed at providing housing, job training, and resources for individuals experiencing homelessness. He named it Henry's Hope, inspired by the man whose story reminded him of the power of compassion. Months later, Shaq returned to Atlanta for a community event celebrating the success of the initiative. Among the attendees was Henry, now employed and volunteering to help others facing similar challenges. The two shared a heartfelt hug, and Henry thanked Shaq once again. "You didn't just help me that night," Henry said. "You gave me hope." As the event wrapped up, Shaq addressed the crowd. "We all have the power to make a difference," he said. "Sometimes, it's as simple as showing up and caring. This isn't just my story or Henry's story, it's our story. Let's keep it going." The audience erupted into applause, and Shaq felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He knew that the impact of that one snowy night would continue to grow, proving that a big heart could change the world, one person at a time.